Good morning. I am joined by the creative powerhouse behind this production, Jonodev Chaudhuri and Mary Kathryn Nagle. Good morning to both of you. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. And Mado for taking the time. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you for being here. It is truly an honor to talk to you about this production, the issues that it tackles, and the story of Jean Hill Chaudhuri. So let's dig right into this. What is this play about?
Well, first off, I'm just very thankful that Mary Kathryn, who, as most of your listeners probably know, is an accomplished attorney, having filed numerous briefs before the Supreme Court, and an accomplished professional playwright. I'm very thankful and honored that Mary Kathryn was willing to take on a mom's life story as the subject matter for her next play. And so the play is about my mom, Ella Jean Hill. She was a full-blood Mvskoke Creek, raised in Okemah, Oklahoma. Even though she was tied to her community, she led a life outside of Creek Nation after marrying my father. And she lived in South Dakota, Florida, Arizona. So the play that MK has written is about my mom, but it uses my mom's life to tell a very universal Native story that encapsulates all sorts of policy developments of the 20th century, and including the boarding school experience, including fighting for tribal sovereignty. And she uses the McGirt decision to kind of frame the whole story itself.
The play had its first table reading recently, a few weeks back. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, so it was actually a staged reading, which in theater terms just means it's not a full production, but a staged reading means there's rehearsal, it's workshopped, and there's an audience. And so what we were able to do is I was able to make changes to the play during the process after hearing it out loud. And then we had an audience for 2 performances. And that really gives you a chance to listen to the audience, feel the audience's energy. When are they laughing? When are they crying? When are they gasping? When are they maybe getting a little bit like bored or distracted if a certain part of the play is kind of going on for too long?
We had family from Oklahoma and Arizona coming in. We had tribal leadership from other tribal nations here, from Fort Belknap, from Montana nations, Oklahoma nations, and so it was. And we also have numerous federal officials come, and so having the play in DC is not only great for exposure. General exposure of the message of the story. It's also great for advocacy. So Roundhouse Theater is kind of big deal theater in the DC area. And we're very proud of the fact that the play is having, that reach throughout the theater community. But having federal officials there kind of understand how deeply personal these policy battles are. Right now, Creek Nation's in almost an existential battle to try to protect and implement the historic McGirt decision. Having federal officials there understand that these stories aren't just about abstract notions of law and sovereignty. They speak to the heart of our experience as Native people. Mom was a storyteller. Mom wrote plays. And, Mom passed away before ever getting a chance to meet Mary Kathryn. But MK has really done justice to Creek Nation, but also the family by telling this story. But I think MK and Mom would have had a great conversation about storytelling, the power of storytelling, and the power of storytelling when it comes to advocating for our rights as Native people.
In terms of her life story, it covers her life, and her life was pretty amazing. Everything she survived, everything she fought for, everything she achieved. So the play highlights her survival through boarding school. She ran away 8 times, which is pretty incredible, from the Eufaula Indian boarding school, where she was beaten and chased by dogs every time she ran away until the 8th time when she was successful. It deals with language preservation, even though it doesn't discuss it directly. She's a first language Mvskoke speaker. Her own personal journey in terms of marrying outside of Creek Nation, trying for many years unsuccessfully to have a child until finally she did, and being a mother. And I think the struggles that she had are just very real in terms of balancing her incredibly hard work as an activist with being a mother and raising her children and being a wife and being a daughter and being a sister and auntie and all these things that we are as women in our lives. She did it all. And, so it's a very personal story. Like Jonodev mentioned, it's also very universal. The debut, we don't have an exact date, but it'll be sometime in April of 2023. So the theater will tell us sometime soon when, quote, opening night is, and there'll be some previews and then opening night, and it'll run through sometime in May 2023, and that should be announced soon. It's at the Roundhouse Theater in Bethesda, Maryland. But right now what we're doing is we're casting. So we'll be asking Native actresses to submit audition tapes, and we're also looking to hire a Native costume designer. And we're looking to hire a Native lighting designer and hiring other designers as well, and a Mvskoke cultural consultant who will help us. There is Mvskoke language in the play and aspects of Mvskoke culture. Since I'm the playwright and I'm not Mvskoke, just want to make sure we have someone whose job it is to ensure that the play is authentically portraying those aspects of Mvskoke culture.